So now let's create a getter for our instance variable. So again, the access modifier of our getter is going to be public. The return type of our getter is going to be actually string. This method is going to return something, right? And the name of the method should actually start with a capital letter, get computer name. And then this method is not going to accept any parameters. So I just put a pair of parentheses here, and I just open and close this method by using these curly braces. An opening curly brace followed by a closing curly brace. This is actually called the body of the method. So now this method is actually supposed to return a value of type string. So I just return this instance variable, computer name. So remember what I told you in the previous tutorials. When I refer to a variable, to the name of the variable, I am actually referring to the actual value of that variable. I want to access the value of that variable if I am actually referring to the name of that variable. This is very important. So here when I say return computer name, I mean return the value that is actually inside of this computer name variable. So this computer name variable is of type string, so I can return this variable from this method. So now let's go to this main class here. And as you can see, we have this main method. So inside this main method, I can actually create an instance of type computer. So first of all, let's create a variable. So what do I mean by a variable or an actual object? So for example, let me show you what I mean. I can actually say, let me just create a new object. So here I can say new, right? New, and the name of the class is computer. Computer, new computer. As you can see, I am referring to the name of this computer class here, and I put a pair of parentheses here, right? So this is actually the actual object. We are actually creating a new instance, a new object of type computer, right? And we are not assigning this object to any other variables, but we have this new instance here. We have this object, and I can call whatever methods that is actually related to this object on this object. So for example, inside this computer class, we have two methods. The setter in order to set the value for this computer name instance variable, and a getter in order to get the value of the computer name instance variable. So let's actually go inside this computer class, and now I want to actually assign an initial value to this computer name instance variable. So here I can say, for example, I can put a pair of I can put two quotes here, and inside the quotes I can say a hi world, exclamation point. So now I actually assigned this string value to this variable, to this instance variable. And we have this getter method in order to get the value of this computer name instance variable, right? Let's go to this main class here. And now that we have this instance, this object of type computer, I can say dot get computer name, right? And then I can actually put a pair of parentheses here because this is actually a method, right? And then I put a semicolon here at the end. And now I can actually just print this value to the console. So here I can say console dot write line, and then I put a pair of parentheses here. And then let's actually cut this piece of code here, and let's paste it here inside the parentheses, right? Let's actually delete this semicolon, and at the end of our statement, let's put a semicolon here. So I am saying console.write line new computer. So here I am creating a new object of type computer, and I am calling this method get computer name on this new instance. So initially inside this computer class, we actually assigned this value hi world, right? So when I actually call this method get computer name, it's going to return the value of the computer name, which is actually hi world. And here we are going to output that value to the console inside this main class and inside this main method. So let's run our application. So at the top, just click on debug and then click on start without debugging. So let's wait a little bit here. And now it's going to actually open the console area for us. Let's wait. So as you can see here, our application is now running, and you can see this hi world here, right? And it says press any key to continue. So by just creating a new instance of type computer and calling this method on this instance, we get this value here, hi world. So let's actually press an enter key in order to close this console area. And that was it. Let's actually delete this line of code here. So now I can do the same here. I can create a variable here, computer, So in order to specify the data type of the variable, first we must put the data type. And then I can give this variable a name. So here I can say my computer. So this is the name of this variable. And I put an assignment operator, and now I can create the actual object, new computer. And I put a pair of parentheses here, semicolon. So in this way, we are creating this new object here, and we are assigning it to this variable, my computer, so that later, when I want to access to this specific object, I can just refer to the name of this my computer variable, that its data type is computer. So here, I can just say console dot, actually write line, and inside the parentheses here, I can refer to the name of this variable in order to access this object here, my computer dot get computer name, and I put a pair of parentheses at the end of this name, and finally we must put a semicolon at the end of our statement. Let's run our application again, and again we are going to see the same result.